Hey everyone, it's Marisa Vasquez. Due to technical difficulties, I'm unable to do my regular quick reviews, so this time I'm gonna have to do something different and do an audio review instead. So let's not waste any time and let's get started. This is Crimson Peak. This is the latest installment of the mystery horror genre directed by the greatly talented Guillermo del Toro. This is a man who's been praised by both critics and audiences for his creative vision. So of course we can't help but be curious on what he's gonna do with a movie that's supposed to be put out on Halloween. Crimson Peak follows the story of Alice in Wonderland in the aftermath of a family tragedy and is forced to live with her new husband, Loki, and her sister, I wish she was naturally a brunette, Jessica Chastain. All with the sneaking suspicion that they might have to do with a family secret that may come after her and cause her life. Oh, and there's some cool looking ghosts in here too, but that's not important. So I should start off by actually praising this film just on its visual look alone. This actually might be one of Guillermo del Toro's most gorgeous films ever made. This is a film that lives in the Victorian era and loves the art of saturated colors everywhere you turn. You could even argue that the visuals is the heart of the film, considering that it's completely soaked in blood. I'm not even kidding. Guillermo del Toro actually managed to create an atmosphere that bleeds. There's a subplot that goes nowhere that Tom Hiddleston invented some Laffy Taffy for claim mining, and it's clearly doing a great job considering that it's leaking all over the place. I'll also give the movie credit and say that the actors do a pretty decent job, like Tom Hiddleston, Jim Beaver, and Tom Hiddleston. While I will say that these are all good actors, the script doesn't really do them any justice. Most of the acting in this is really underwhelming. I'm just going to come out and say that I did not like Jessica Chastain in this. She only has one mode throughout the whole movie, and that's to give a blank stare that she thinks is creepy, followed by a boring monotone that she thinks is creepy. And without giving too much away, she kind of has to do the opposite near the end of the film, and I'm not kidding, I started laughing at her performance. Jessica Chastain can be a good actress, and I've seen her do it before in other roles. And you can clearly see that she's trying, but she just didn't do it for me. Mia Wasikowska, like I said, is from Alice in Wonderland, and unfortunately, I had the same problems with her as I did when she did Alice in Wonderland. It's clear that just like Alice in Wonderland, she's supposed to be the observer to all of the crazy stuff that's going around her. And that wouldn't be so bad, except that she never has the right reactions. Look at her in Alice in Wonderland, she's always giving a blank, expressionless stare. Widen those eyes a little, would ya? There's a scene in this movie where this freaking looking screaming ghost is chasing her down the hall, and of course she doesn't scream and run like a normal person would. She acts like she saw a spider in the corner and ran off to get some bug spray or something. Hell, even women nowadays run away from spiders! Maybe I need to see her in more work, but until then, I'm just gonna say that she can't hold a movie on her own. I know this because the whole second act of this film was boring. Honestly, I couldn't tell you that much about the second act because it's that boring and forgetful. All I remember is Mia Wasikowska running around and looking confused. That's it. Now that could have been more interesting if she was a more interesting character, but like I said before, the script just wouldn't allow it. Actually, to be fair, in the beginning of the film, she did start out as interesting. She was an independent feminist who was convinced that she didn't need a man to be happy. But no exaggeration, that goes right out the window as soon as she meets Tom Hiddleston. So what was the point of that? Was it to prove that Tom Hiddleston is so sexy that he can even make independent feminists sweaty? Which he is. He is. Tom Hiddleston did okay, but to be fair, it's only because he's freaking Tom Hiddleston. This guy is dripping with charm. This is a guy who made girls create a fan base around a guy who wears a goat helmet. In fact, I almost wish that he was the lead in this. Ironically enough, the last thing I'm going to talk about in this review are the ghosts in the film because, ironically, they're the weakest element in the whole film. And unfortunately, this drags the movie down a lot. This is what the movie's marketing mostly focus on, but the ghosts are barely in the movie, so it's actually really bad false advertising. While all the ghosts in the movie do have cool and even creepy designs, they don't do anything scary aside from pointing, screaming, and doing constant jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. But the biggest misstep ever done with them is that if you really think about it, this movie didn't need ghosts in it at all. Hear me out on this. Most of the movie is focused on our main character trying to discover the mystery about her husband and her sister, and the ghosts don't do anything but pop out and say boo, and they don't even show up in the final climax of the film. Why do I bring that up? Well, because the climax is supposed to revolve around everything that's important with the story. The protagonist, the antagonist, the main issue being resolved, and it has nothing to do with the ghosts in the story at all. Aside from a ghost ex machina that I can't really give away in this, they were completely pointless. Sure, the ghost kept giving her clues to unravel the mystery, but she could have discovered those clues on her own. While we're on the subject, the mystery is not very good. Right off the bat, I knew in the beginning who the bad guy was, who was gonna die, and how it was gonna end. Both the writing and the acting in this film had no subtlety at all. So in the end, while this is a dumb film, the environment alone is actually worth the price of admission. This is a gorgeous film that actually has its own unique identity. This is honestly a film that I could put on every Halloween. In the background. With the sound off, but it still counts. So in the end, I give it a rental. Low rental, but still a rental. And to be fair, I'm actually looking forward to Guillermo del Toro's next film that has to deal with ghosts. Thanks for joining me for quick reviews. I'm Mauricio Vasquez. It's anything but. Take care.